Sorry, I had a little snafu with the first one. I'm trying to get it all worked out. Give me a second. I got to go through, repost some links. So guys, sorry, I'm trying to spread this link real quick. I'm doing it now. Looks like I got a viewer, so it looks like we're getting there. Sorry, just give me a second, guys. Troy, ATXRC Productions, what's up, guys? Got the solo here. Just got it to Twitter. Let me see if I can get this spread just a little thicker. Sorry, I screwed up on the first one. I think at Street Team. All right. All right, I guess that's as thick as I'm going to spread this right now. All right. Got that edit. Hold on real quick. 3DR and 3DR. Sorry guys, if you're here, I'm just trying to get this new link spread around really quick and to get the rundown set up. 3DR solo, 3DR solo, 3DR solo, smart drone. All right, that'll be good for now. All right. All right. So, what's up? What's up? Troy, ATXRC Productions, here with the solo. I've got a rundown of some stuff that I wanted to chat about. Sorry for the snafu in the beginning and all that. So here we go. I'm going to pull up my iPad Mini 2. We'll talk about this in a minute. I'll just say my iPad Mini 2 is a 64 gigabit LTE unlocked Retina display. So it's a Mini 2. So let me go in here real quick. So we got the solo. I want to just start with just my first impressions. I know you've seen some of the other stuff I've already done, but this thing is awesome. It is lightweight out the box without the battery. I mean, it is very, very lightweight. I've mentioned there's like one little soft spot in the plastic, like right here, that kind of clicks and bends. But besides that, it doesn't feel like it's going to break really or anything. There's a few tabs inside for the battery that I'm concerned about over time wearing and becoming loose or cracking or breaking, but the battery tray is simple enough to replace. I've seen that. I do have the props on there, probably shouldn't, but I just wanted to start the size. So out the box, this thing just feels rigid. The arms, solid. Even the legs are really solid. One thing I'll say too about this, the design or the something I've noticed just in the last few days, I throw this thing in the back of my car just like I do my other rigs. The rubber feet and just the stance that it has, This thing stays planted in one place. Anybody that drives around with one of these, with a quad in the trunk knows that that thing likes to move no matter how planted or whatever weight you put in front of the legs or around the legs, blah, 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 right? So this thing stays planted. It's just very well designed. You can just see it, and it's smart. I really, really, really just think that out the box it has a great feel. It's much bigger than a Phantom. I don't have a picture of a Phantom, but I can tell you it's much, much bigger. Just in general size, the props being larger, just very, you know, it's just very overwhelming and much larger. Not that being bigger is better, but we'll talk about that whole situation down the road. So overall first impression, home run. Has the frame mounted gimbal, you know, not the greatest, but whatever. I do think some of the jello that does remain in the 1080 60 frame per second that I was shooting wide angle on my Silver 3 Plus has the least amount of jello to shoot in it, which is still tolerable and probably somewhat postable to get out in post, but not all of it. The frame mount itself, okay, I don't mean to break anybody's hearts here, but it's a cheap version of the frame mount. The nut on the end, it's just not, I swear it's plastic. I don't know. I mean, it's a real nut. I don't know. It's just, it's a different feel of plastic, or it's that feel from GoPro mounts, the long extension ones, like it's just not solid enough. It needs some more rigidity to eliminate a little more of the vibration. Besides that, it's, you know, you get a $30 or $40 frame mount. That's pretty cool. Good. GPS is located up here, just so you know, under these covers. Everything is easy to get open. There's 3 screws on the bottom plate to remove the gimbal, which you're going to mount the new gimbal into. The new gimbal does go in and mount inside, not in the gimbal balls like I thought. Sorry. The link right here is great for being exposed and in the right place. Everything's vented, lights, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, well thought out. Radio, first impressions, I actually thought it felt kind of cheapish and kind of light, and I didn't like it. The more I've felt with it or played it. I said played it like it's a video game. The more I've messed with it or played with it, the more I like it, man. It's just the perfect size. The weight is perfect. I mean, I don't want them to put rocks in it. It's not like I want them to overweight it. What really makes you feel like it's light is the overall factor of having a light radio. It's very powerful, but it's the plastic here. It's the actual sticks. I just would have liked some metal. I would have liked just a little more. I even feel like, yeah, these are metal, but they just feel plastic. Everything feels plastic is the problem. But it's not a problem because the radio itself works great. As the 3DR Street team on Twitter has coined my, the dreaded 50-50 stick. I love it. It's great. I've never flown with a 50-50 stick, so my bad on dissing it. I shouldn't have. I love it for this rig. Would I do it to my Tyrannus? Absolutely not. But for this rig, it's basically kind of like a hover. It's like a redundant hover stick almost. Like the quad already knows, hey, let's hover because you let off the sticks. But this obviously gives you a true kind of hover point at the 50 mark. And it's funny because everybody kind of always has asked, how do you do that? How do you get your 50 right at the 50 mark? Well, you're going to have to spring load it and get it, you know, everything talking to each other and calibrated right, but it'll work. Another great thought through 3DR, right? The radio itself, though, cool. All the little buttons, the switch, the adjustment for the pan sweep. This is the adjustment speed, and then you have your endpoints that you preset, and then you have your camera angle paddle, which we all saw this shape in the pictures and the footage, but seeing it in person and having it while I'm on the stick, it's in perfect reach to. It's video game style. It really is. Everything is shortened in throw. So, and I can do full throw. Like I can fully throw left and still get here everywhere. Same thing here. That's not the case always with my Tyrannus or wherever. So yeah, the radio is really good. The holder. I originally thought it felt cheap and junky, but it's not. I actually carry the radio, buy this sometimes. Watch, the guys at 3D are going to be like, no, don't do that. It's a very solid piece. And besides, this is the only thing, okay? I hope I don't break it. This will pull off if you go to adjust it too far. And then you can actually just pop it right back on. So it's not really an issue, and it's not going to fall off. So that was my only concern, is this eventually might snap, and it's very specific to the way that it adjusts in. So you might have to like find a way to rig something, but we'll figure it out. For those that care, the throw or the grip on the vise for the device tab holder is all the way up to 6 1/4 safely, 6 to 6 1/4 safely. And if you stretch it, you can get to 6 1/2 with a little bit of flex. Also, because the measurement is actually should be down here because they're grooved forward. So you could get a 6 1/4 for sure. I don't know about that. Antennas, yes, they're just regular SMA RPs. They recommend that they are at the 20 position, I believe. It's hard to tell because of the manual. I think they want you like that, I believe. I could be wrong. Please, again, somebody comment or tell us. So radio, man, it's just great. The more I play with it, the more comfortable I get. I'll be honest, I was a little overwhelmed by it. A little, not, I don't mean overwhelmed, but like I wasn't scared of it, but I didn't know, I wasn't comfortable with it. So I'm getting more comfortable with it. Something to get comfortable with is the air brake, the pause button. That air brake button it's amazing. And a little janky slightly, like I'll get used to it again. It's something just to get used to, but when you hit it, that thing stops. It's an air brake. There's a reason why they say it's a pause button, but then they also say it's an air brake that pauses movement, because that thing really just stops in its spots. It slams on the brakes. So it's really good for those OSHIT moments. The fly button. So to take off, and if it's waiting for solo, but if it were live, you hold the button and a green bar status bar starts updating. When it fills up, it says it's ready to go, and it spools up the motors after kind of signaling a couple of beeps. Once you do that, you can then, basically you're at 50, so you can then take off yourself, which I do most of the time. 3DR recommends automatic takeoff and automatic land though. So to do that, it'll say solo's ready for takeoff after it spools up, and you hold it again for like 2 seconds or so, and it fills up and it takes off. If you let go anytime before that bar fills up, it stops. So it doesn't take off. It does take off kind of quickly, or just, about 10 feet. I don't know. I'm sure the spec is somewhere. I'm lying about the footage. It feels about 8 feet, to be quite honest, 10 feet. So it just sits there and it hovers, waiting for command. So the layout's just good. You're here. Usually what happens when you're, oh my gosh, what just happened? You let off that stick first and you start kind of thumbing up the stick to see where it's at. Well, that hand is right there and free. So it's perfect. Return to home. It does exactly that. You push it and that thing comes home. It books it home too. There is a setup for what height 98 feet, if I remember correctly. 98 feet, it will go down or up to. If it's not at 90, if it's above 98 feet, it just comes back from where it is. So every time I've used it, I've been above 98 feet, and I've hit RTH, or it's hit an RTH for losing signal when I was doing range testing, which we'll talk about. And man, that thing just comes flying. It's not the NASA, okay, let me sit down, let me wait 2 to 3 or 4 or 5, 10 minutes, depending on how far away I was. Man, I had this thing 1,600 feet out, 500 meters, 500 something meters, and it lost range. And for a second, because I lost range, and I lost it because I was headed so fast forward, it lost it, and it lost video. Because all of the other times I had actually lost just the radio range, not the video, which everybody thinks you're going to lose the video first, but I was losing radio range before I lost video. Couple of factors. The first time I actually reached across, I had my pad, and I actually reached across to take screenshot of the picture, and when I did, I bumped the radio. I mean the antenna, and as soon as I touched it, it actually RTH. So when I did that, I decided to go. After I did that, I came home, I charged, and I decided tonight to go try it again. And I went, and I got, that was at 1,400 feet. At 1,600 feet this time, it lost signal. Radio, and I was booking it, like I said, I had it in high performance mode, which I'll show in a minute. The high performance mode I had it in, when it lost it fast. So anyways, I got worried, blah blah blah. Like 10 seconds later, I could hear it coming, and this thing, you can really hear it from a kind of a little further distance than regular. The 10-inch props help you with that, as well as just, I don't know, it just sounds crazy great. But yeah, it just comes flying. So what do? I hit pause, the air brake, and it just stopped where it was, and then it says fly, you can fly it. The recommended probably would, not air brake, would be just to fly. In the future, and the next time that it RTH'd, I actually did hit the fly button, and it regains the flying that way. You can somewhat regain flight by viewing and yawing whenever it's in RTH, but it won't actually regain control until you hit the fly button. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there. Preset angles and cameras, we can't do that yet, but that's how you preset the camera angle. It shows you. It's pretty cool. Percentages are going up and down. That one is, it goes up to 90, and it's going to sweep down to 0. And so we can do that, and we can speed it up. I don't know. Anyways. There it goes. It's going slow. Cool. Radio done. All right. First impressions are done. Purpose and plan for solo. I'm gonna just fly the hell out of it. Have fun with it. I am gonna try to do some commercial work with it. Just lightweight stuff. I have too much of a day job, guys, and I've got other stuff that I'd rather do in the field than just do real estate. You know, shotgun style. Commercial work. If I could do commercial work, like real straight up commercial work right now, then I'd do it. But I don't have that opportunity right now with my time. So I'm just going to do what I'm doing. Fly, have fun. That's what 3DR wants us to do. App features and tips. So, man, this thing, it is a trip. It really, 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 really has a lot. I mean, it's overwhelming, and I'll be honest, I'm not any pro at it. But a couple of tips, anybody that hasn't set it up yet, when y'all do get it, whether it's Android or whatever, you're going to download your app. The app is then going to upgrade the radio. The radio is then going to upgrade solo. So I had a hang up between here and here when I first got it, where it sat for 20 minutes saying it was updating. What I didn't notice was there was a status bar that wasn't moving. Later, I realized that status bar wasn't moving, but whenever you first get it, get the firmware or get the app to here and then install it. Reset your device. Then install it to your radio. Then reset this device. Then reset or turn the solo on, and then restart everything and connect to solo for the first time. When you do this, you're first going to think, no, it wants me to hurry up and do it all together, just like all of us did. No, it's okay. When you exit the program or the app or whatever, shut down, you come back, it's still going to start setting up again from the same process. So do that, and then you're going to get it, and it's going to have you go through a level calibration. When you do the level calibration, you need a full level sheet of something. I used my board, or my front porch is perfectly level too, and so I used it once. It actually asks you to lay the unit on its left side. I say that's the left side, that this is the front, and that this is left because it's its left. I don't know though. 3DR, please, if you're out there, redefine what left side is, or I don't know, port and starboard maybe. It's going to then ask you to roll to your right. It's going to ask you to roll back, forward, upside down, and then it's going to say you're good to go. It's also, I don't remember if it does a compass. I think it asks for the compass too, which it's a really weird one where you just tumble it all around until the bar fills up. But that's pretty cool. So hold on, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So after you do all that, it's ready to fly. But I did have an issue with the video feed. A lot of us had issue with the video feed. And what we had was, it was, for me, I didn't reset my tablet. So that's why I tell you it's really important to reset the tablet. So this is what we're going to do. We got everything taken off of Solo. We're going to start it up. Let me grab the battery. So I'm going to shut my phone. All right. So there we go. Go in and we're gonna fly solo. I have LTE prepaid wireless on mine, and so on that, I'm paying 10 cents a megabit. So it actually works great because I only use about 5 to 8 megabits so far per battery. So it's about 80 cents. It's not too bad. I'm willing to pay 80 cents a flight. Happy. And if I'm not actually using smart shots, then I actually wouldn't have to have, and I don't have to have the maps. I could cache them or whatever, but I just prefer to run it on the LTE network just to be kind of like redundant, if you would. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up. All right. There we go. So I'm going to cancel out the app and come back in. All right. There it goes. And there we go. All right. So waiting for GPS. We're not actually going to wait for that. But inside your settings, you're going to have solo. And you're going to set up your Wi-Fi settings. After you do all that and you get everything set up and it's all squared up, and you come into flight log, you're going to do your calibrations and you can fly. So one of the other cool things in here is going to be your settings. On settings, you can go to solo and you can go to performance. And on the performance, it's going to come locked in all the way down. There we go. All the way down. It's got 5 clicks that you can click it up to, but all the way very slow. So when it comes out the box and you go to fly it, this thing is just, it's silky smooth, it's stable, but it's sluggish. It's almost like somebody's holding it back. It's really, really weird. But it's also really, really great, and it's just its own unique thing. Once you start speeding up the very fast on the flight and you get to medium, it gets more into a good moderate pace. Even at fast, it's quick, but it's not going to be, this isn't going to be your custom 450 quick. But it's definitely being still held back even at quick. The battery life, I got about 20 minutes out of it, and that was with some decent hover time though, 25 maybe. During that time though, I didn't do anything but stay in the low mode, and I did a lot of hovering. Whenever the second pack and I did all the filming of the cams and everything, I did about half hover and half flight. I had it set still at low, and this thing used a pack in about 15 minutes. The weird thing about that is then today I flew it, and when I flew today, I flew it at medium and fast, and I got more time flying it faster and harder, it seemed. And I could be wrong because I'd have to go back and check the video, but it felt like I got more time out of it. So I'm not sure if that has to do with the gain settings whenever it's in the low slow mode, that it's at really kind of being strangled by the gains saying no, stay here, no, stay here. But it wasn't very, it's very tight, and it's where it needs to be. There's some video I already put up of it hovering at a very low altitude. That was with no stick inputs. And I mean, my NASA setups, whenever they're 3, 4, 5 feet off the ground, they're all over the place, squirmy. So I was very impressed with it. It's very stable. Besides the settings there, you can go to altitude limit. It's one of the first things I did. I didn't go crazy. I set it to 250. I just wanted to be able to get up there and get above whatever might be in my way. You can adjust that, I believe, on the fly. Whenever you adjust anything, it says apply, and you apply it at the bottom, and that sends it to solo. Presets. This is something everybody's interested in. They're still a little tricky, and so my tip is leave everything set up the way it is. Don't go in messing with orbit and cable cam and fly and all the stabilized modes and everything. I would leave it the way it comes set up, which is cable cam on A and orbit on B. So whenever you're out in the field and you go and you want to do the orbit, you literally just pull up to it. You know where you want to be, hit and hold the button, and it starts it, and then it says start, hit A, and then you hit the button. That thing just orbits around whatever direction you want. People have been asking which direction. It goes whichever way, and it continues until you hit the button again to stop it, or you hit the pause button. I hit the pause button a couple of times, freaking out, not knowing how to stop it at first. But yeah, you just tap the little B button again. My tip is not to use an iPhone. You can, I'm sure, but it's going to be difficult. There's a lot of precision little points on the screen to tap, and the little smaller screens are going to be difficult. Even this screen's a little tough. All the guys that want the big screens, they're probably going to be cool, and it'll probably be very useful. I'm just worried about how big and heavy. It's perfectly balanced with that setup. So that was just, setting it up, tips, just reset everything, get it set up. When you go to do the orbiting and everything, I crashed twice on my first couple of orbits on my app. I don't know if it had to do with my iPad or not. The next times that I did the orbit, which was today and a couple other things, it didn't crash at all. I lost connection on the app one time, and it was my fault. And it was when I was trying to do the screen capture, and I actually backed out of it. I did get 1,400 feet the first range test, and I was flying kind of up and over some trees, and so I had line of sight, but the distance away had me a little partial line of sight. And again, I kind of reached around to do the screenshot, and when I did, I bumped that antenna just like that, and as soon as I did, it kicked in. But I was able to regain control fairly quickly. Though that thing comes at you fast, I never really was too freaked out. It's really smooth and stable. Whenever it loses battery, which I won't do, but somebody, it says what it does. It supposedly lands once it signals you. So I have seen it signal me and say, hey, your battery's getting low, but every time it does that, I bring it in and I touch down. I don't know what percentage it auto lands, but I'd really like to get an auto land. I mean, a number on when does it specifically auto land on that percentage, because that is something that concerns me. But only if I'm out on water or somewhere really crazy. whenever you do the orbit or the selfie setup, it's again easy and quick. Like you pull up to yourself, you hit the button, and then you can do it. Now, when you do it, you can actually any of these moves. The right stick can either control it on the cable or on the orbit, or the up and down can definitely go with the altitude, so it'll change the altitude during the shot. The yaw, on the other hand, will override whatever yaw commands are currently being input by the path or by the gimbal, I believe. So it does kind of jerk it and kind of recenter it if for some reason it gets off, which is hard to do. I guess it would take like a heavy wind gust. I had it happen today, but I think it was a heavy wind gust that did it. Anyways, the pause button, air brake, during all that works. But selfie, you pull up to yourself and you hit it, and then if you do the back away one, you can also come back. Or if you're further away and you come forward, you can do that. It's crazy, man. Like you send it and it goes, and you can actually control the altitude and let it go up if you want it a little higher and faster. But it's gonna naturally curve up, and then when you come back at yourself, you kind of tell yourself like, this thing's gonna stop though, right? And it stops. But yeah, it's crazy. Like it's not that far away, but it's not that. It's kind of close. So it does kind of make you jiggle for the first few times. But it works flawlessly. It's literally pretty much one button and then touch the screen and it goes. Or like I said, you can one button and then fly it with the stick. Really simple. Blah blah blah. Battery needs. So I think I'm going to use 3 batteries. That's just for me. Until there's a really mobile charging solution, I could never really fly more than 3 packs without getting kind of shot. I know there's people out there trying to do jobs with these things, but unfortunately, right now you're looking at an hour and a half to sometimes 2 hours on a full charge. And you're getting a 20-ish minutes flight time. For me, that's plenty. I can get an hour and a half worth of flying out of 3 packs, basically, with all the downtime in between. So that works. Technically, I could start charging packs, and I could actually start recycling at that point. But I could do 2 hours. It gets hot. I don't know. I talked about it with Steve. He thinks that it's about it being up top too, and I think it obviously helps. But it just gets hot. Every time I pulled it out, it's been really, really, really warm. On one occasion, it was really warm. The motors, they get a little warm, but they're not too bad. I don't think it's a ventilation issue necessarily. I mean, it probably could have done with some vents, but I don't know. On the orbit, whenever you do the adjusting on it, you can adjust the actual orbit size. It's just a little difficult to figure out, but once you get to it, like you'll see. Make sure it's really cool, man. Like, I mean, it's precise on the map. Like, you center the dot, and you can literally pull up to exactly where you want to be. So, it's just different than you could ever imagine. When we're getting down to the flight controller, the PixHawk 2, I'm waiting on the real true specs on this thing for custom builds, because whatever's in this thing is what I want to put in something else, and it's just locked in. Whatever GPS they chose, which is the Neo 7, which everybody said wasn't going to be enough, go to the Neo 8. It's enough. Whatever the flight controller is doing with that is perfect. There's nothing else that I could even imagine doing with it. But I do want to put one in my disco, so to do that, I just I gotta release it and figure it out. So 3DR, what's up with that, man? I do think that next PixHawk 4 or PixHawk 2 is gonna be. I mean, the size of it is tiny. I mean, you're gonna be able to do a range of things from small to large to. I don't know what the actual max is gonna be on the motors. I'm hoping they at least go to 8. Maybe they could go to 10. Who knows? But it's gonna be the future, man. And if they can tie it into the controller setup system like this with the PixHawk, I mean, I would love to be able to utilize this radio with this and another quad. On the range tests, you know, again, I got 1,600 meters or 1,600 feet. I keep saying meters. I'm sorry, guys. My disco runs in meters. 1,600 feet, which is, you know, again, a third of a mile. That's tweaking it. Quarter mile the first time. I don't know. It's weird that I'm losing radio before I lose the Wi-Fi, because each time I've kept Wi-Fi video, so I'm not 100% sure on how that necessarily works out. But somehow the radio is losing the signal first. If 3DR could help us with that and let us know, is there something going on, and something I need to check? I'm not sure. Video. I know everybody wants to see some video. I know y'all seen some. We're going to go ahead and go into the share screen. Here we go. I'm going to share the desktop. All right. So, minimize that. Minimize that. This is, gotta get to it. Sorry, guys. Give me one sec. All right. While we're talking about that, anybody that's new that hasn't gotten the specs yet, it's 11.5 inches to the tip on the prop motors all the way around. 7.5 inches is the height ground to prop nut, which is the tallest point. So anybody looking for cases or bags or anything like that, that's there. Here we go. So this is the clock tower video stuff from last night. So this was actually the cam shot. Let's go all the way back though. All right, here we go. All right. So this was the orbit setup. I had just gotten it set up and I started to execute it. Now, when I did this execution last night, I was actually doing it manually. So this is a manual orbit. This one, though, was a reversed orbit, the opposite way. So, sorry, there we go. So we got to the end and then we started circling back. Now, once I got to this point, I decided I wanted to try the cable cam. I wanted to link them together. And so this really goes to show what the full capabilities of what I plan to do with Solo is going to be. It's going to be a matter of executing these shots together. 3DR has already said, like Vutron has already said, that there's multiple shots coming, new shot types coming. So to be able to link, you know, an orbit with a cable cam to another orbit to another cable cam, I mean, that can make for some really, really, really cool theatrics, I guess. But this is actually the cable cam. So I got where I was. I hit the cable cam button. I went back. I just set the B point. So this is all manual. And now I'm initiating the cable cam now where I'm going to go forward. And again, last night I was doing this one manual. So I'm actually holding forward on the right stick right now. It's staying stuck in line where it's supposed to be. It's on that cable running. I actually wasn't sure if it was 100% going to stop. So I kind of got to the end and wiggled all the way down. And then I was like, oh, okay, it's going to stop. Okay, cool. So I'm trying to kind of force myself forward and it won't forward. So it won't go. So I then do the reverse cable cam. And you'll notice I did do an altitude change of up. Right there, it's going up. And again, this is all static gimbal. I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad at all. Sorry that the low light footage, so the cable came back there. And now today's footage that I actually haven't even really looked at. Here we go. We did some fun stuff today. So, hold on real quick. Just gotta find. Here we go. New Silker 3DR. All right. Here we go. All right, here we go. So I took solo today to Zilker Park here in Austin on my way home. And come on. There we go. Let's see. Sorry, man. I forgot this wasn't imported in yet. I'll tell you what. That's what we're going to do. Here we go. All right. So this was auto takeoff. You can see me doing it up there. I actually thought I was showing the camera, but my other camera was not doing very well. So I started the motors and take off. So after that, we went ahead and did, here we go. This was the first selfie. So I'm setting it up now. Come on. Of course. There we go. Come on. I got too much going on. I'm sorry. I should have never imported these. Stop. All right, there we go. I got those stopped. We should be good. All right. So, smart chat, back to it. So I got it set up, and then I push the button, and it goes. And then this is where it gets squirrely. Again, you know it's going to stop, but you see me kind of take a step back just in case. All right, so did it again. Take a step back just in case. I was setting the speed different. Oh. I paused it. That's right. I decided to do an orbit. So here's the orbit. Imagine that with the solo gimbal. I actually paused it because I wanted to adjust it slightly. I was trying to tighten it in a little. So I think I started again here. There it goes. Oops. I don't even know. I did. So there was the range test. Oh no, actually this was shooting over the water. This was shooting over the water. Jamie says that 5% is where it decides to land. So here was where we went on the range test. So you can see that I go up and over these trees from my position. And this isn't slow, just so you know, I believe. Like this is full tilt and slow. Again, not too bad, man. I mean, yeah, it's unstable, but it's also kind of high up there. I'm about 100 feet, and it's kind of windy. So I'm at about 1,000, 1,200. And then I decided to go a little further. Some point. There we go. So I had to go a little further, and then I reached that 13, 14. And this is right about where oh wait, there it is. Yeah, right about there. Triggers RTH. You can see Austin. That's Austin, Texas downtown. And as you can see, look how fast. That's in, again, slow mode. It's booking it back. It's in full bore tilt coming home. And it didn't play. It took off. So that was that. Let's look at tonight's range test. I have one more. So tonight's range test after we got home. I didn't fly over homes. I flew over the easement. Now this is in fast. So this is fully, performance is fully tweaked all the way up on both bars. I don't know, does pan speed apply to the gimbal or to the yaw? I assumed it was yaw, but I could be wrong. If Jamie could look a brother up with that answer via message, that would be great. Oh, it's in the manual, is basically what Jamie said. He sent me a picture telling me I'm an idiot. Thanks, Jamie. Just kidding. All right, so I'm really booking it here, and this is where I started leveling out the check, and I'm like, screw it. I think I was at 1,500, and now I'm at 1,620, somewhere in there. And there it is. It hit RTH, and now watch it. It hit it, and it's done. It's like, yo, where you at? Where you at? Where's that controller at? It's coming for you. So yeah, it booked it back. I literally, this is where I got it and I regained control. I had actually already seen, or could have already regained control, but I decided to let it go back. So we flew back. We did it again. And this time, earlier, it hit RTH 200 yards earlier. Now, it should be known, yes, again, look at all these houses. It's a plethora of Wi-Fi. I'm in the middle of it, above nobody. But here's some footage. Anyways, so yeah, that's that. I don't know what to say. Range test worked out for me for about a quarter mile. For me, I'm okay with that. This thing is not going to be an FPV, flying rig. I don't trust the connection. I mean, it's okay though. It's not like I bought this expecting or being told it was long term. 3DR, man, thank you. Thank you again. This thing is a great, great piece. I thank you for making it, not because you gave it to me or anything. I don't want to say that. But yeah, man, it's an amazing piece. Guys, what they're doing with this now, I really truly think is going to be the future. Is you're going to see 3DR on top real soon if they're not already. I consider them on top. They haven't lied to me about anything yet. As long as that gimbal shows up and it works, I don't even know where to start. There's just going to be so much between now and then. Flight Simulator, for those wondering, they're still with us. The Flight Simulator is going to be a separate entity, supposedly, coming up soon. They wanted to keep them both separate for some reason. That makes sense. The less here that stresses the environment, the best. I do want to chat and find out what's going on, man, with the range. Is that normal? And I do want to talk about the app crashing. It doesn't do it all the time, but the few times that it does, it just seems a little volatile, and I don't know why. Is it something that I'm doing wrong? I'd like to know. Is there a way for us to find out? I don't know. But that's the problem. I'm restarting my iPad every time. I'm closing everything. I don't know. Any tips or secrets would be great. Do we need to forget all other Wi-Fi networks besides the one? I'm not sure. Anybody out there, let us know. It's not killing it, but it's why I don't trust flying it too far out of line of sight. But hey, whatever, right? I'm okay with that right now. This thing is not right now set up to be super duper fast. It's not going to be, oh my gosh, look how crazy it is. But it handles very well. The battery, I'm very interested in seeing what upgrades they come up with. I'm a little concerned about the C rating on the batteries, and I think that they might be in the 10. Okay, I'm going to say they're at 20, and I'm just going to say that's what I think they are. I don't know. I'm not really happy. I don't like, and I'm not comfortable with 20C rating packs. I don't know. I know that performance and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, but I've flown with low Cs and I've flown with high Cs. When you get towards the end of the pack, when it gets critical and something needs to happen, I trust a high C pack more than I trust a low C pack, because low C packs have let me down, literally. I have a situation recently with Ike where if I would have had a low C rated pack, I would not have made it out of the creek, and I luckily made it 10 feet off the creek before it touched down. Anyways, we got to figure the app out. That's what's going to throw people off. We all know the haters or whatever you're going to call them. I'm willing to be an early adopter, and that's what the first 30, I think, were for every vendor. I think that's why 3DR threw us the bone. I think it was in to make up for it for the gimbal release, but I do also think that because of whatever gimbal release issues are going on, which we all should logically deduce there's something wrong or was something going on that needed fixing, which is fine with the process and trying to get something out fast happens, whatever. But everything has to sync and be together, and so I think we're a little bit of the beta testers. Hey, everybody should know that going into pre-ordering, especially something new like this. It's not like it's the next cookie cutter one that they just plugged another board into and they used all the other same parts. It was brand new, so I'm okay with that. But please, please, please continue with the support 3DR. Y'all are doing great already, but just keep it up. But to do that, guys, we got to get them feedback and get some stuff to them, and it's got to be accurate and as well logically thought out as possible. So the app crashing, is it the fact that it's an iPad mini 2? I don't know. It's completely updated, and everything's, again, I've hardly installed anything on this. It's pretty much dedicated to only this. But is there something we need to know about specific settings for specific units? This is all stuff that's going to come with time. Be patient. I'll be patient. As long as we're getting information and getting help on trying to track down answers. The range, I think that's going to be a big question for people. I'm okay with it again, but I do want to know if it's okay, if it's normal. I think that's what we all freak out about is, well, if it's such short now, what happens if something goes wrong? Well, what if nothing ever goes wrong? What if that's just the norm? I don't know. Yeah, the early adopters, look, everybody else is upset. Well, I mean, we're not all having the greatest time. I mean, some of us just got Android apps today. Some of us, can't figure this out, can't figure that out. Some of us just, again, are curious about some of these answers before we get really comfortable and start taking this thing out and shooting footage and putting content out. I mean, I'm not. That's why I'm doing these live things. That's why I'm just putting up these crude little things. I'm just trying to get the information to everybody and see if anybody else is having similar experiences, and help, those that do get them work through these simple basic experiences. Shutting everything down, we can stop calling it 3DR about just restart your freaking iPad, dumb. Well, I didn't do that. I'm the dumb. Yeah, I don't know. 5.4 millimeter lens people are talking about. That's great. I have one. Do it yourself. There's many different ways of doing it. The right way, the wrong way, the easy way, the slow way, the fast way. Pop the lens cover off, put it on there, dude. Be done with it. Screw the old lens. I mean, unless you really need it and you're that cheap. If you're that cheap, you probably shouldn't be doing a 3DR solo with a 5.4 millimeter lens. Get a 3 plus, guys. If you don't have a 4 and you're not really a pro, come on, don't lie to yourself or me. Get a 3 plus. They're super cheap right now, 3 plus blacks. Put a 5.4 lens on it and be done with it. You can resell this thing for $400 probably in 2 months, 6 months, whenever the next GoPro comes out. The 5.4 lens has a lot of value to it. Solo case. So, oh man, I just realized. Hold on. We're not. Cancel. All right, my bad. The 5.4 lens. Google case. I mean the solo case. Yes, I got the solo case. It says solo all over it. It's actually really great. Pull it out. By the way, get the tab out. Done. Set it in there. Stick it to the little pads. And now I got this. I got that. It's got like this like kind of plastic armor. Again, I can take it, pull it out, set it up on Solo. Done. Solo case. It's like 30 bucks on eBay. The mini iPad 2 was like $379, something like that. H2O wireless LTE card, 10 bucks, $20 worth of prepaid on it. Again, 10 cents per megabit, so you can put $10 on it and be good for a while. Again, guys, 3DR Solo, thanks for everything. Thanks for watching. Keep it up. Keep flying safe. Keep flying fast. Keep flying hard, but safe for sure. Follow your heart, like they say, right? Thank you again, 3DR. I know this was rambling on and on like usual, but I hope it got some information to you guys. Thanks. Have a great night, guys.